the people in power had gave that reign to Diddy, and Jay was next in line. I got a call from one of Diddy's people.
Okay, this is set up.
Yeah. And I didn't say who it was.
Right.
You know, and I just said he wanted to talk to me.
Okay.
And if this person wanted to talk to me,
right,
you know, so it had to be for Diddy, because I never with him. I could have just kept my mouth closed.
Period.
I didn't have to tell Miss Wallace nothing. I didn't have to say nothing to nobody. That's what people don't understand. I chose to. You understand? They want to make up the stories they want to make up. And that's what you get this internet. You got a lot of people making up stuff. But then when the stuff come true, they look stupid. They don't say nothing.
The internet woke up to chaos this morning. A leaked jail call, a strange sentence about pizza boxes, and now a former insider claiming he's cracked the code. Fans are shocked, timelines are on fire, and the drama feels bigger than anyone expected. Gene Deal has stepped forward with a bold claim that the message wasn't about leftovers or recycling at all. According to him, it meant something else entirely, something deeper, something hidden in plain sight. Emotions ran high the moment the audio started circulating. Supporters scrambled to defend, critics demanded answers, and in the middle of it all, one line keeps echoing: get rid of all the pizza boxes. Make sure you recycle the plastic. Innocent instructions or carefully chosen words sent through a monitored phone line? Now the family is reportedly feeling the pressure. Friends are whispering. Fans are dissecting every syllable. And Gene Deal insists there's more to the story than anyone realizes. If he's right, this isn't just a random conversation. It's a calculated move. And tonight, we're diving into what's being said, what's being speculated, and why this single phone call has everyone questioning everything.
We're writing that boxes sound like cages. You know, we have somebody talking about how Star Island is right next to a shipping unit and a very short drive from an international airport. And that's where Diddy lives. There's apparently a huge shipping place right near Diddy's home in Miami. And it's also been confirmed that Diddy's mansion did have underground tunnels. And some actually say that they connected to the Playboy mansion nearby.
Diddy's private island, shipping container island right across the way. Diddy's island with all of his friends, just a short drive away from a very huge island platform full of shipping containers, and you have to go right next to the Coast Guard. We all know what's been sealed and talked about. What are the odds that this man lives on this island just a short walk away from this entire platform of shipping containers? Come on, what do Diddy and shipping containers have in common? Did anybody else know this? This right here kind of blows my mind, because if I was some star, the last place I'd go put my island is anywhere close to anything like that. So why in the world are these two so close to each other? And what do these and this have in common? And the fact that you have to go right past the U.S. Coast Guard? That's pretty crazy. But hey, Diddy's island that just got raided is a short boat ride away from a whole bunch of shipping containers. Do you see the connection?
Let's dive deeper into what Diddy said next.
The scary part is that in certain circles, ordering pizza doesn't mean food. It's a way to describe arranging under-the-table deliveries of not-of-age workers, as if they're menu items.
Is just as simple as ordering pizza. You could order as fast as 15 minutes. There's ads on social media and even gaming platforms that look exactly like this. You could select what age, height, and other really disturbing factors.
Let's take a closer look at what Diddy had to say next.
Okay, make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah.
It's obvious Diddy knew he was going in, and he had all this already set up on the outside for his son. And plastic could mean CDs. If he had some, videos on CDs or videos on flash drives, they're made of plastic. Even hard drives, a lot of them are made of plastic. So that could be what he's referencing. It could be a memory card.
The moment that audio clip started making its rounds online, the energy shifted. It was not just another celebrity update or a routine jailhouse conversation. People leaned in, they replayed it, they slowed it down, they dissected every pause, every breath, every choice of words. When he said get rid of all the pizza boxes, some laughed at first, others felt uneasy. And then came the second line, make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
I would wonder if he's white or black. And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, there's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith, he's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black that are black actors or black in the business that's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy that's black? That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you know, you got to realize he ran with that black that Rat Pack, and I don't want to even say their names, but they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner? What's the other guy? Leonardo? Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So there's quite a few tapes that might be out there.
Also suggested that the A-lister mentioned in the leaked video could be Justin Bieber. Fans have been buzzing with speculation, trying to figure out what connection, if any, he might have to the situation.
You believe the guy in the tape is white?
If he's bigger than Diddy, and he's not none of the names that I said, probably so. But then they say he was young too.
Yeah, they say he was young.
Let me get his name right. I hope it ain't the Bieber. I hope it's not the Bieber.
That's a good one. It might be him. But if they saying that the guy is young and he's an A-lister, I can't think of that many black people, man.
Right. Not at all. And somebody that's more powerful, more of a celebrity than Diddy. You understand what I'm saying? If they were saying somebody that was more celebrity than Diddy, he was an A-lister, he was younger. You know what I'm saying? And if he's not black, it would have to be the Bieber. That's his name, Bieber? They said I got that wrong too. Justin Bieber, allegedly. I don't know, bro.
Right. But when you heard the news that Diddy, he had a tape with another man, did that catch you by surprise or no?
Well, all this shit is by surprise to me. A lot of this shit is by surprise to me, to be totally honest, man. Because I knew Puff, I knew Puff Daddy, I knew Diddy before he was Love and Brother Love and back to Diddy. So, no, but the diddler, he's the diddler now. A lot of it's surprising, but it's not unheard of. Because you hear of all kinds of shit, and whether it registered with you or you internalize it or something like that, that's a whole nother story. But a lot of this stuff is crazy. But this is the world that we live in now, man. That these individuals thinks is all right.
Next part of the clip. Diddy asks his son if Jay has reached out yet. Let's take a closer listen.
I would say this. It's kind of funny to me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough where he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z.
That is when the speculation exploded. Fans are shocked because on the surface it sounds harmless. A father giving simple instructions to his son: clean up the house, throw away leftovers, recycle properly. But critics are asking why those specific words? Why repeat all the boxes? Why emphasize plastic? Emotions ran high across social media as commentators began suggesting that the language felt intentional, not loud, not aggressive, but careful. Gene Deal stepped into the storm with confidence. During a live conversation, he did not claim facts. He did not present proof. Instead, he framed it as his opinion. When you are on a recorded line, he said calmly, you choose your words different. His tone was steady, but the implications were heavy. According to him, people in high-pressure situations often communicate in layers, one meaning for the system, another meaning for the person on the other end. The chat immediately flooded with reactions. Some viewers typed that Gene was reaching. Others insisted he had a point. One supporter wrote, nobody repeats something that simple unless there's more to it. Another fired back, y'all turning trash talk into a conspiracy. The family was left divided in the comment section. Fans defended loyalty, critics questioned credibility. What made the moment even more dramatic was Gene's history. He has spoken before about past events, about being in rooms where decisions were made quietly. So when he leaned back and said, I believe that message was layered, people listened. Not because it was confirmed, not because it was proven, but because it sounded possible. Meanwhile, reactions from close circles reportedly added fuel to the fire. A friend of the family, speaking anonymously on a podcast, said, everyone is overanalyzing, it was about cleaning up, but then paused and added, however, in this climate, every word matters. That hesitation alone sparked another wave of debate. Fans clipped that sentence and shared it everywhere. Inside the online community, theories multiplied. Some believed the boxes could represent paperwork. Others whispered about digital storage. There were even discussions about whether plastic could symbolize physical devices. None of it confirmed, none of it verified, but the curiosity kept building. During another segment of the interview, Gene leaned forward and said something that made viewers sit up. I'm not saying what it is, he explained. I'm saying don't assume it's nothing. That statement hit hard, because it did not accuse, it did not confirm wrongdoing. It simply challenged the idea that everything is always literal. Emotions ran high when the host asked him directly, are you saying he was sending a message? Gene paused, the silence stretched. I'm saying, he replied slowly, people in power don't speak careless when they know they're being recorded. That line echoed across reaction channels within minutes. Fans are shocked not only because of what was said, but because of what was implied. A single phone call has now become a cultural moment. People are debating language, loyalty, and legacy all at once. Some believe this is another example of internet culture reading too much into everything. Others feel that history has talked at.
To look deeper. What adds another layer to this unfolding drama is the emotional conflict surrounding family. A father behind bars, a son on the outside. Instructions being passed through limited minutes on a monitored line. One supporter commented, imagine having every word you say analyzed like that. Another responded, imagine knowing you have to speak carefully because of what might happen next. The emotional stakes feel personal. Behind the scenes, insiders reportedly feel the tension as well. One source claimed that those close to the situation are frustrated. It was a private conversation, they said. Now it's being turned into a spectacle. Yet even that frustration feeds the narrative, because once something hits the public space, it stops belonging to just the people involved. Gene also addressed the timing. He suggested that context matters. According to him, when someone anticipates legal pressure, their communication changes. Again, he made it clear he was sharing perspective, not proof, but perspective alone was enough to send fans into detective mode. During a heated live chat, two commentators argued back and forth. You're creating drama, one said. The other replied, no, we're asking questions. That exchange captures the mood perfectly. It is not about certainty, it is about suspicion, about curiosity, about whether the words were random or strategic. As the days passed, more reaction videos surfaced. Body language experts weighed in, communication analysts offered opinions. One analyst stated, repetition often signals emphasis. Another countered, sometimes repetition just means someone wants to be understood. The debate refused to slow down. Through it all, Gene maintained the same stance. He insisted he was not attacking. He insisted he was not inventing. He simply believes that in high-stakes environments, coded language exists. I've seen it before, he said quietly. That statement lingered. Fans are shocked because the conversation feels bigger than pizza boxes. It feels like a symbol of something else. Trust versus doubt, loyalty versus transparency, silence versus exposure. The family was left divided online, with supporters urging people to stop speculating and critics demanding accountability. What started as a few simple words on a jail call has now evolved into a layered discussion about intention. And as more voices enter the conversation, the tension continues to build, not because anyone has confirmed a hidden meaning, but because the possibility alone has captured the public imagination. The moment that audio clip started making its rounds online, the energy shifted in a way nobody could ignore. It was not just background noise or another headline fighting for attention. This felt different. People were not casually scrolling past it. They were stopping, rewinding, listening closely. When he calmly said, "Get rid of all the pizza boxes," it sounded ordinary at first, almost too ordinary. And then came the follow-up. "Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about." That is when the tone of the conversation changed completely. Fans are shocked because in isolation, those words sound harmless. A father giving basic instructions: clean up, throw things away, be responsible. But in the current climate, nothing feels simple anymore. Critics immediately began asking questions. Why repeat all the boxes? Why stress plastic? And most importantly, why now? Within hours, reaction channels lit up. Hosts leaned into their microphones and replayed the clip multiple times. Some laughed nervously. Others raised their eyebrows and said, "Hold on a second." Emotions ran high as social media users began breaking down the language word by word. One viral post read, "When you know you're being recorded, you don't speak randomly." Another responded, "Sometimes trash is just trash." That's when Gene Deal entered the conversation in a way that escalated everything. During a live discussion, he didn't shout, he didn't accuse. Instead, he spoke slowly, carefully. "I'm not saying it's proof of anything," he explained. "I'm saying it sounds layered." That single word, layered, sent shockwaves through the comment section. The host pressed him. "What do you mean layered?" Gene leaned back, folded his hands, and replied, "When people are under pressure, they speak in ways that mean one thing to outsiders and another thing to insiders." He stopped there. He didn't elaborate, but he didn't need to. The implication was enough. Fans were divided instantly. Supporters typed messages defending the idea. "That makes sense," one viewer commented. "People have always used coded language." Others were furious. "This is reaching," someone fired back. "You're turning a cleanup request into a conspiracy." The emotional conflict quickly became personal. For many viewers, this was not just about analyzing a phrase. It was about loyalty. It was about whether Gene was exposing something or
stirring unnecessary drama. Some longtime fans expressed disappointment, claiming that constant speculation only adds chaos. Others insisted that asking questions is not the same as making accusations. Behind the scenes, people close to the situation reportedly felt the tension building. A friend, speaking anonymously on a small podcast, shared, "Every word gets twisted once it hits the internet." They sounded exhausted. It was a private call. But then they added quietly, "Still, when you're in that position, you have to know how it's going to sound." That hesitation did not go unnoticed. What makes this entire situation more intense is the context surrounding the call. A recorded jail line is not a casual environment. Every second is monitored. Every sentence is documented. Communication in that setting is limited and calculated. That fact alone fueled even more debate. Gene returned to that point repeatedly. "People underestimate how strategic someone can be," he said during another interview, "especially when they know eyes and ears are everywhere." Again, he clarified that he was offering opinion, not evidence, but the drama had already taken on a life of its own. Emotions ran high when one commentator challenged him directly. "Are you suggesting he was hiding something?" Gene shook his head. "I'm suggesting that nothing said in that situation is accidental." The room went quiet. Viewers flooded the live chat with fire emojis and question marks. Meanwhile, fans began forming their own interpretations. Some speculated that boxes could represent paperwork. Others wondered if it referred to digital storage. A few even suggested it might symbolize loose ends that needed tying up. None of these ideas were confirmed. None of them were backed by proof, but the curiosity was relentless. The family was left divided online. Some supporters begged people to stop dissecting every syllable. "He's a father talking to his son," one person wrote. "Leave it alone." Others insisted that public figures live under scrutiny by default. "When you're in the spotlight," another user commented, "nothing is off limits." As more creators weighed in, the conversation became more heated. Body language analysts claimed the tone of voice sounded deliberate. Communication experts debated whether repetition indicates emphasis or simply clarity. Every perspective added another layer of suspense. One particularly intense livestream featured two commentators arguing back and forth. "You're creating drama for views," one accused. The other shot back, "No, we're unpacking what was already there." That exchange perfectly captured the atmosphere. It was not about facts, it was about interpretation. Gene, for his part, remained steady. He insisted that he had no interest in fabricating stories. "I've been around this industry long enough to recognize patterns," he said quietly. That statement lingered long after the interview ended. What truly heightened the tension was the emotional stake involved, a son receiving instructions from his father under public scrutiny, the pressure of knowing millions are listening. Supporters argued that the humanity of the moment was being overshadowed by suspicion. Critics countered that history demands skepticism. Fans are shocked not just because of what was said, but because of how it has been received. A simple phrase has transformed into a symbol of something much larger: trust versus doubt, privacy versus transparency, loyalty versus accountability. As days passed, the clip refused to fade. It continued circulating across platforms, gathering new interpretations with each share. Memes appeared, serious think pieces emerged, late-night discussions dissected the cadence of each sentence. Through it all, one thing remained clear. Gene Deal's claim that the message was more than it seems has ignited a fire that refuses to die down. Whether his interpretation holds weight or not is still up for debate, but the emotional storm surrounding those few words has already left a mark on everyone watching. And as that cultural moment kept growing, the conversation shifted from simple speculation to something much more emotional. What started as a debate about wording slowly turned into a debate about character, about trust, about history. Fans were no longer just asking what pizza boxes meant. They were asking what it said about the man behind the voice. During another live appearance, Gene returned to the topic with a slightly firmer tone. "I could have stayed quiet," he said. "I didn't have to say anything." That line immediately struck a nerve, because now the focus was not only on the jail call.
It was on Gene himself. Why speak up? Why now? What was motivating him? Critics accused him of stirring attention. Supporters defended him, arguing that he has always positioned himself as someone who speaks when others remain silent. Emotions ran high in the comment sections. One viewer typed, "He's protecting himself." Another fired back, "Or maybe he's telling you what he sees." The host leaned in and asked carefully, "Did anyone reach out to you after you spoke?" Gene paused for a second before answering. "There were conversations," he admitted. He did not name names, he did not provide details, but he made it clear that the reaction behind the scenes was not calm. That revelation sparked another wave of drama. Fans are shocked because now it felt personal. It was no longer just about interpreting a phrase. It was about whether people were trying to control the narrative, whether pressure was being applied quietly. A friend of Gene reportedly commented off camera, "When you start connecting dots publicly, some people get uncomfortable." That sentence spread quickly online. People began speculating about tension building within former circles, old alliances being questioned, loyalties being tested. Meanwhile, supporters of the family expressed frustration. One close associate was quoted saying, "This is exactly why private matters shouldn't become public entertainment." The tone carried disappointment, but even that disappointment fueled more reaction videos. Gene, however, did not back down. "I'm not accusing anyone of anything," he repeated firmly. "I'm saying pay attention." That phrase became almost like a slogan among his followers. Pay attention to tone, pay attention to timing, pay attention to context. What made this even more dramatic was the emotional conflict between past and present. Gene reminded viewers that he has known these personalities for years. "I knew him before the rebrands," he said quietly, "before the image changes." That subtle reference to history gave his words extra weight. Fans began revisiting old footage. Interviews from years ago were pulled up and compared. People searched for patterns in speech and behavior. It felt like an online investigation fueled entirely by curiosity rather than confirmation. During one particularly heated livestream, two guests debated Gene's credibility. "He sounds hurt," one suggested. "This feels personal." The other disagreed immediately. "Hurt people don't stay calm like that," they argued. "He sounds calculated." The family was left divided not just among fans, but among commentators who could not agree on motive. Emotions ran high when the conversation turned to the son on the other end of that phone call. Some viewers expressed sympathy. "Imagine having your private moment dissected like this," someone wrote. Others argued that public figures understand scrutiny comes with the territory. Another twist emerged when a digital communication expert weighed in during a separate show. "People under pressure often simplify their language," she explained, "but they also sometimes choose words carefully." Her balanced perspective did not settle the debate. Instead, it deepened it. Gene returned again, this time with a slightly more reflective tone. "I've seen how messages get passed," he said. "Sometimes what sounds small isn't small." He stopped short of elaborating, and once again, that restraint only intensified speculation. Behind the scenes, rumors of tension reportedly continued to circulate. One insider hinted that certain individuals were frustrated with Gene's commentary. "Enough is enough," they allegedly said. That phrase echoed loudly across social platforms.
Was it directed at Jean? Was it about the coverage? No one confirmed. Fans are shocked at how quickly the story evolved from a single sentence into a web of emotional stakes. Friendships questioned, reputations weighed, intentions debated. The atmosphere feels heavy with unspoken things. During a late-night broadcast, the host asked Jean directly, "Are you afraid of backlash?" He gave a slight smile. "Truth doesn't scare me," he replied. The simplicity of that response triggered a wave of applause in the live chat, but it also sparked skepticism among critics who felt the drama was being amplified unnecessarily. What keeps the tension alive is the absence of closure. No official clarification has been issued. No concrete explanation has silenced the noise. In that vacuum, imagination thrives. Meanwhile, other creators have begun offering alternative interpretations. One suggested that the phrase was intentionally mundane, chosen precisely because it would not attract suspicion. Another argued the opposite, claiming the mundane nature is what makes it suspicious. The emotional conflict continues to build because each side believes they are being reasonable. Supporters believe they are defending humanity. Skeptics believe they are demanding accountability. Jean insists he is simply
observing patterns. And in the middle of it all stands that original audio clip, unchanged, repeating in loops across platforms. The tone, the pauses, the emphasis, analyzed endlessly. As discussions grow more intense, the sense of division becomes undeniable. Friendships online are strained. Comment threads turn hostile. Some fans beg for everyone to move on. Others insist this is only the beginning of a bigger story. The tension has not cooled. If anything, it has deepened. Because now the debate is no longer just about what was said. It is about who gets to interpret it, who gets to speak, and who decides when speculation crosses the line. With each passing day, the emotional stakes climb higher, and the atmosphere surrounding those few simple words grows more charged, more complicated, and far more personal than anyone could have predicted when that audio first surfaced. With the atmosphere already tense and divided, the third wave of drama did not come from new evidence. It came from shifting alliances. Suddenly, people who had once stayed neutral began picking sides. Some former associates appeared on smaller platforms, offering vague statements that only added fuel to the fire. "I'm not surprised by anything anymore," one person said cryptically. That single sentence spread like wildfire. Fans are shocked because now it feels less like analysis and more like a fracture in relationships. Emotions ran high when an old clip resurfaced showing laughter between Jean and members of the inner circle years ago. Viewers questioned whether something had changed behind closed doors. Was this about a code, or was it about loyalty unraveling? During a tense live stream, a co-host asked Jean directly, "Is this personal?" His jaw tightened slightly before he responded. "What's personal is when people pretend history didn't happen," he said. The room fell quiet. That line hit differently. It was no longer about pizza boxes. It was about past decisions, past silence, past consequences. Supporters applauded his composure. Critics accused him of speaking in riddles. The family was left divided once again. One fan wrote, "He's hinting at things without saying them." Another argued, "He's protecting himself legally while still exposing layers." The debate became less about the phone call and more about intent. Meanwhile, other commentators began connecting emotional dots. One popular host speculated that the coded language theory might symbolize something broader. "Maybe it's not about physical boxes," she said thoughtfully. "Maybe it's about cleaning up narratives." That perspective caught attention quickly. It shifted the conversation from physical objects to reputation management. Emotions ran high when someone in the live chat claimed that the phrase, "recycle the plastic," could refer to revisiting old stories and reshaping them. That interpretation spread across platforms within hours. Again, nothing was confirmed, nothing was verified, but the symbolism felt dramatic enough to hold attention. In another appearance, Jean spoke more passionately than before. "I gave up a lot to stand where I stand," he said quietly. The vulnerability in his voice surprised viewers. It was not anger, it was exhaustion. Fans are shocked because the tone had shifted from confident speculation to emotional reflection. The host pressed him gently. "What did you give up?" Jean did not provide details. He simply said, "Peace." That single word lingered in the air. Suddenly, the narrative carried weight beyond gossip. It became about personal cost. Behind the scenes, whispers of tension reportedly grew louder. An unnamed source claimed that some people felt betrayed by Jean's public commentary. Family business shouldn't be public, they allegedly said. But that statement only reinforced the idea that something deeper might be unfolding. Social media turned into a battlefield of interpretations. One side argued that every public figure deserves privacy, even during crisis. The other side insisted that public power comes with public scrutiny.
Emotions ran high in comment threads where supporters and skeptics clashed repeatedly. Then came another twist. A communication specialist was invited onto a popular podcast to analyze the cadence of the original call. She explained that when someone emphasizes certain words repeatedly, it often indicates urgency. However, she also warned against overinterpretation. Context is everything, she said calmly. Without context, language becomes projection. That balanced view did little to calm the storm. Instead, it highlighted how little anyone truly knows. And in that uncertainty, drama thrives. Gene returned again to address critics. "I'm not here to accuse," he insisted. "I'm here to question." That distinction became central to his defense. He framed himself not as a whistleblower, but as an observer raising eyebrows at coincidence. Fans are shocked because the conversation now feels layered with
emotional stakes. It is not simply about decoding language. It is about whether silence equals complicity, whether speaking up equals betrayal. The family was left divided, emotionally and publicly. One particularly intense exchange occurred when a longtime supporter commented, "If there was something serious, authorities would handle it." Gene responded calmly, "Sometimes patterns matter before paperwork." That sentence ignited another wave of speculation. Meanwhile, supporters of the family rallied online, urging everyone to stop dissecting what they call a harmless conversation. "This is reaching," one person wrote. "There's enough real-life drama without inventing more." Others countered that asking questions is not the same as inventing stories. The emotional conflict grew heavier as more voices joined. Former industry insiders hinted at stories untold. One guest on a late-night stream said, "Power circles are complicated." She refused to elaborate, but the implication hung in the air like a storm cloud. As days passed, the debate shifted again. Some began to argue that the real story was not the phone call at all. It was the reaction. How quickly people divided. How fast alliances shifted. How one phrase could reopen old wounds. Fans are shocked at how something so ordinary has transformed into a symbolic battleground. The tension feels less about literal meaning and more about trust eroding in real time. In his latest appearance, Gene closed with a reflective statement. "When the dust settles," he said softly, "people will remember who asked questions and who stayed quiet." That line resonated deeply with his audience. It also unsettled critics who saw it as dramatic positioning. The emotional temperature has not cooled, it has intensified, because now the narrative carries more than curiosity. It carries pride, reputation, legacy. As discussions spiral and interpretations multiply, one truth remains constant. No official clarification has been offered to silence the noise. No definitive explanation has ended the debate. And in that silence, imaginations continue to race. The story has moved beyond decoding a phrase. It has become a test of loyalty, a measure of courage, and a reflection of how quickly public perception can shift when uncertainty meets history. And as the pressure builds, the question is no longer just what those words meant, but what they have awakened in everyone watching. And what those words have awakened is something far more complicated than anyone expected. By now, the debate is no longer just circulating in comment sections. It has crossed into mainstream panels, late-night streams, and private group chats where friends argue about perception and loyalty. Fans are shocked at how a few seconds of audio have turned into a cultural flashpoint. Emotions ran high when a well-known commentator suggested that the real issue is not whether the phrase was coded, but whether people trust the voice delivering it. "This is about credibility," she said firmly. "Once doubt enters the room, everything sounds different." That observation cut through the noise and reframed the narrative entirely. Suddenly, the spotlight widened. People began asking whether Gene's commentary reflects unresolved tension from the past. Others argue that questioning public figures is not personal, it is necessary. The family was left divided, not just in opinion, but in tone. Some pleaded for calm, others leaned into the drama. During one particularly intense livestream, a caller joined and said, "What if we're missing the bigger picture?" The host asked him to explain. "Maybe the code isn't about objects at all," he replied. "Maybe it's about damage control." That theory spread quickly, adding yet another dramatic twist to an already layered situation. Gene addressed that perspective head-on during his latest appearance. "People can interpret however they want," he said. "I'm not here to feed narratives. I'm here to point out patterns." His composure remained steady, but there was an unmistakable firmness in his tone. He seemed aware that every word he spoke would be dissected just like the original call. Behind the scenes, rumors of strained relationships reportedly continued.
One insider claimed that certain figures were frustrated by the public back and forth. "This isn't helping anyone," they allegedly said. That comment only intensified curiosity. Helping who? Hurting who? Again, no confirmations, only whispers layered on whispers. Fans are shocked at how divided the conversation has become. In one corner, supporters argue that coded language has always existed in high-pressure situations. In the other corner, critics insist that reading between the lines can create narratives that spiral out of control. Emotions ran high as debates spilled into live chat arguments that lasted for hours. One analyst brought a different angle entirely. "Sometimes the drama reveals more about the audience than the speaker,"
said thoughtfully, "We project our fears onto ambiguity." That comment introduced an uncomfortable question. Is the public uncovering something hidden, or are they exposing their own distrust? As the tension builds, the personal stakes feel heavier. A son whose private moment became a trending topic. A former insider who feels compelled to speak. Fans who feel emotionally invested in outcomes they cannot control. The emotional weight of it all lingers. Gene's final remarks during his most recent appearance were calm but pointed. "I don't hate anyone," he said quietly. "I just refuse to pretend." That sentence captured the heart of his position. Whether viewers believe him or not is another matter entirely. Supporters flooded the comments with praise. "Stay strong," one wrote. Critics responded just as passionately. "This is speculation dressed as insight," another argued. The family was left divided yet again. What makes this story so gripping is not confirmed facts or dramatic revelations. It is the tension between perception and intention, the unresolved nature of it all. No one has stepped forward with a definitive explanation to silence the debate. No official statement has put an end to the speculation. And so the narrative continues to evolve. New interpretations surface daily. Reaction videos multiply. Discussions grow more philosophical than factual. Is coded language real in high-pressure environments? Absolutely. Was it used here? That remains a question without a confirmed answer. Fans are shocked at how quickly the story escalated from a mundane instruction to a layered cultural debate. Emotions ran high because the issue taps into something deeper than a phone call. It touches on power, trust, and the fragile line between privacy and accountability. As the dust attempts to settle, one truth stands clear. This was never just about pizza boxes. It was about how quickly uncertainty can fracture perception. It was about how history influences interpretation. And it was about how one voice choosing to question can ignite a storm that refuses to calm. The drama may eventually fade, the debates may cool, but the ripple effect of those few sentences will likely linger far longer than anyone anticipated. And until clarity replaces speculation, the conversation will remain suspended in that uneasy space between what was said and what people believe it might have meant. So here we are. One leaked jail call, one former insider raising questions, and a single phrase that turned into a full-blown cultural debate. Whether you believe Gene Deal is simply reading too much into ordinary words, or whether you think there could be layers we are not seeing, one thing is clear. This story has people talking. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the community has been left divided. Some feel this is speculation spiraling out of control. Others believe asking questions is part of holding powerful figures accountable. And right now, there are still more questions than answers. Was it just a normal instruction between a father and his son, or was it carefully chosen language shaped by pressure and circumstance? Until something concrete surfaces, all we truly have are perspectives. And that is where you come in. What do you think? Are people overanalyzing harmless words? Or do you believe Gene Deal might be onto something when he says the message sounded layered? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. This conversation is far from over, and your voice matters. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure you hit that like button so more people can join the discussion. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates, reactions, and deep dives into the stories everyone is whispering about. And most importantly, stay curious, stay critical, and stay engaged. Because in moments like this, the truth often lives somewhere between what is said and what people believe it might have meant.